So before we start talking about the actual mechanisms of rowing, I just want to talk about a little bit of theory. It's an important place to start. We've all seen rowing. You've probably seen the Olympics or the Oxford and Cambridge boat race. So the principles behind rowing with sort of one oar is that the end of the blade, which is called the spoon, that goes in and you take a stroke, then the spoon comes out and you do this thingy rotation. It's called feathering. Then it comes back again, goes into the water, okay? Now, what I would normally ask is for you to tell me how far you think the spoon actually travels through the water during a stroke. And we go around and sort of some people sort of say, well, the length of the meter, something like that. But the fact is that when you put your blade into the water and take a stroke, it is in fact the boat that's moving, not the spoon. And that's a really important aspect for three reasons we'll come back to. But just let's think about it a bit further. If you imagined I was in a little canal, so the boat was floating, but on each side I had sand, and I put my blades, my oars into the sand, and then I took a stroke like this, what would happen? Well, of course, the spoons, the blade would stay stuck in the sand, and the boat would move. And effectively, that's what happens with a boat. And back in the past, I used to say, imagine that you're sort of on ice skates or something like that in your boat, and you've got some ice picks at the end of your oars, and you put the ice picks in like that, and then you take a stroke, and the boat moves, and obviously the ice picks don't. So if we're agreed that the spoon doesn't move through the water, three things occur. The first thing is if the spoon doesn't move through the water, and it's lying there at the surface, which is where you actually place it, it goes down just below the surface, then clearly the handle movement will be absolutely horizontal, absolutely non-negotiable, indubitably horizontal, because any upward movement of the handle, any sort of movement like this, will merely make the spoon drop down and then come back up again, which is pointless, because if it does drop down, it'll probably slip a little bit, and you don't want it to slip, you want it to hold its position, okay? So once we're in the water, once we put the spoon in the water, then the movement of the handle is going to be absolutely horizontal. Now the second thing sort of relates and reflects the same thing, and it's a little bit more complicated. If the spoon is stationary at the surface in the water, then the handle speed reflects the boat speed. It reflects the boat speed, okay? So if the boat's going faster past the spoon, the handle will be coming faster towards me. What is important and what is not so obvious is that the handle speed does not dictate the boat speed. Okay, I can move the handle from here to here faster than the boat is moving, but only if I make the spoon slip through the water, which is called tearing. And it's making bubbles, making ginger beer. It's not moving the boat, it's impressing me and hopefully not my coach, okay? So people can actually pull the handle faster than the boat, but not make the boat go any faster. So it's all about moving with the speed of the boat. So if we're not trying to get handle speed, what are we trying to achieve? And the answer is resistance. We're trying to build resistance. And the best way of moving a boat is keeping that resistance going for as long, as far as possible. So the third thing is that if we are going to be stationary in the water and we can put our blade in back there, we would not want to put the blade in here. So if you look at the handle end, we go into the water there and we're stuck in the water there and we move the boat past the spoon. We do not get to here and then change direction and come up like this and at this end miss the water. We're not trying to catch up with the water. We're not trying to match the speed. We're trying to find the longest distance, the longest reach, place the blade in the water, lock it on, and then lever it past as long as possible. So the important outcome of that is that the handle rises at the end of this movement coming forwards, not at the beginning of this movement coming back. And that's exactly where we start with our biomechanics and how we actually do the stroke.